All right, we're live. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Ben. Hey, everyone.
How you doing?
Good. Happy Monday. Happy Whiskey Live Monday. Hey, Ben. Hey, everyone.
Well, so thanks to everyone who's tuning in. Amanda and I are about to do a preview of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society June Outturn. We picked some exciting casks, and earlier we were just trying to do a broadcast, ran into some technical difficulties, but we got them all resolved. So we're good to go.
Yeah, let's jump right in and drink some really brand new whiskey that's right off the boat.
Yeah, so for everybody, I think, I know we've done, this is, I think, the third tasting now where we've done this, and I just want to kind of step back because the first time we did this, we had a few whiskeys, and then people were asking for more whiskeys, and we did a ton of them the last time for May. And we've kind of really scaled back a little bit to focus on some whiskeys that I think we're the most excited about. So we have no shortage of really exceptional whiskey in this Outturn. June, as many of you know, is Father's Day, the month of Father's Day. It's a big month in the whiskey business. Whiskey is a great gift for dads typically. And I know it's something that I've given my dad in the past. I'm not yet a father, but maybe one day I would love a whiskey myself. But we've really stacked an incredible Outturn for the month of June. I'm really excited to bring them all to you. So with that said.
Yeah, let's jump right in.
All right. So first one that we have here, let's see, is cask number 13.50. This is called Cajun Sweet Potato Fries.
Ooh.
Distilled on the 21st of September, 2006, from a refill ex-bourbon barrel, bottled at 60% ABV. So it's a whiskey, 13 years. Again, it's called Cajun Sweet Potato Fries. This is here is one of 180 bottles only.
Wow. So, Ben, some initial notes. Right off the bat, this the name Cajun Sweet Potato Fries is such a nail, spot on for a society name. I eat an order of sweet potato fries a day these days, and it really does smells like spicy sweet potato fries right off the nose.
Yeah, I can get that. It has that Cajun note, which is really kind of interesting. Haven't really experienced much of this in a single malt whiskey before, but there's also just a beautiful note of apple, and some cranberry, and a little bit of brown sugar spice as well.
Yeah, baking spice. Overall, a lot of baking spice. I'm really floored by how accurate the name is in this case. So Cajun Sweet Potato Fries, again, it has like a savory but a spicy baking spice element to it. I just want to dive right in and have a sip.
Yeah, so I think what's interesting, Distillery 13 is the Highland Distillery. We're, of course, not going to reveal the name because we want the whiskey to speak for itself. And I think this is a perfect example as to why we do that, simply because the distillery and style is very much a blend of different cask types. And this is a single cask American oak. Very different from anything I've ever tasted from that distillery, which is why I think it's good to just focus on the whiskey itself. But very bright and lively. I mean, really enjoyable as we get into the warmer months. I think it's a great whiskey for June.
Yeah, it's a 13-year-old, right, Ben? A 13-year-old?
13 years. I think the date of distillation is 2006. So
pretty outstanding, pretty great way to kick it off with all of those delightful baking spices. I just keep going back to baking spices, but more on the savory side than like a cinnamon or a sweetness, more definitely Cajun baking spices. Spot on.
If you buy the Drinking Caveman, I think this is really your type of whiskey. I know you picked up the cask from a couple months ago from Distillery 13. It was a 9-year-old. This one, 11 years. I think it's matured a little bit more. It obviously has for 2 years. It's developed a bit more complexity of flavors. It's not as bright and vibrant, but it's still a very lively spirit. So overall, I'd say this is a great one to start, and especially a good way to start the tasting.
Yeah, it's a perfect way to start. It's a perfect first dram of the night. Not to do it a disservice by saying that it's only an opener, because I would absolutely close the night with something like this as well. But it's very craveable, very distinct. I love sweet potatoes, so I really love that whiskey. Okay, want to jump into number 2?
Yeah, so, and I should mention too, just for anyone who's interested, as we're going through these tastings, just as an incentive for those of you who are viewing tonight, and it's on Monday, it's kind of an off night for whiskey, but we're actually releasing our new Outturn. All these whiskeys we're about to taste are coming out tomorrow. Just as a little special incentive for those of you who are tuning in right now, we've actually just put all these casks on our website live. So they're actually available in this very moment. So for everybody watching, again, you can go to smwsa.com. You can actually purchase and order these casks today, the day before the actual release. So little incentive. I'm not sure we're gonna do this again, but just if there's anything you like and you want some more information, you can go look it up on the site and then order. So this one here, 1350 Cajun sweet potato fries. Again, this is the first one. $115 is the price. Okay.
So just to reiterate what you said, Ben, we are tasting this new June Outturn preview for the first time. It is fresh off the boat. This was all overnighted to us to get here on time, so it is right out of Scotland. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that we're releasing it tonight to people that are tuning in now on the website. So if there's anything you fall in love with, you should act quickly tonight before it goes to the rest of the members tomorrow.
So, shall we move on? All right, cask number 2. This is something I've been excited for a few months now. I saw it's coming out. It's called cask 1.205, Captivating Complexity.
Wow.
What's interesting, first of all, is 1.205. For those of you who aren't familiar with what that means, 1 is the distillery code number. So that means this is the first distillery that the Scotch Malt Whisky Society has ever partnered with. Cask 205 means that it's the 205th cask from the distillery. We don't get a lot from distillery number 1, as you would think.
No, we don't. In contrast, it being our first distillery, you would think that we would have a higher number than just 205 at this point, because the first cask hails from the late 70s, technically 1983.
Yeah.
But no. So right off the bat, I have to dive right into this one because it was one that I was also looking forward to tasting. A 23-year-old from distillery number 1, for those who know. On the nose, it is all runts and banana flambe. So by runts, I mean that amazing banana candy from my childhood, and I'm sure somebody else's childhood. All those banana candies, banana flambe, and it's really, really chewy and scrumptious is how I would describe it just right off the bat. Chewy and scrumptious. You want to spend some real time with this dram. I know I do. This is going to definitely be finished. It's decadent, very chewy.
Yeah, so this is a 23-year-old whiskey. This is one of our double mature single cask whiskeys. So technically, it spent 22 years in an ex-bourbon, we call hogshead cask. And then we transfer it to a final year in a first fill bitter and a sherry hogshead. So really interesting from a distillery that really uses a lot of Oloroso and ex-bourbon cask. This is a unique take on that. Again, distillation date is 23rd of September 1993, bottled at 54.3%. Then wow. It's priced at $300 even.
Ooh, so totally worth it. Totally decadent. That's definitely the dram that so far I'm absolutely going to finish of this lineup. I really am describing it as chewy for some reason. Chewy and like tropical fruit and banana, but warm sensation. It's just the right way. At 54 proof, you said, correct, Ben?
Yeah, 54.3%. And what's interesting, 23 years, this one has really extracted a lot of oak tannins. It's heavily oaked. Some people really get into that. It's really showing its age. If you don't like that, that's just want to call that out. It is what it is. It's definitely a whiskey that's been in oak for almost a quarter century at 23 years. But I like it. I think it has a real good depth. It's well-rounded. The second cast, the 1 year in Pedro Jimenez, has really warmed it out a little bit.
Yeah.
A layer of complexity that I think would not have existed otherwise if it were just straight American oak. So I think it's beautiful.
I think the name, again, totally spot on by the Society. Captivating Complexity. Distillery 1, cask 205 from Distillery 1. And 23 years old, very chewy, decadent, scrumptious, and something I'm definitely going to finish.
And something we should mention too is, we have these 12 core flavor profiles that we categorize the experience that we have with our whiskeys in the dry category. The one before it was spicy and sweet. I think these are spot on because really with this whiskey on the finish, it's very drying. There's a little bit of oak spice to it, some fresh ginger perhaps. So overall for me, this is the kind of whiskey, you tell me, Amanda, I would enjoy this one all year long. I don't think it's a very seasonal whiskey or constrained to any one season.
Yeah, this is a benchmark, I would say. This is something that should become just a classic bottle to reach for from your home bar any time of year. I think it will impress you in the middle of the summer and also, of course, in the cooler months as well.
Yeah, so 1205, Captivating Complexity. Again, for everybody tuning in, this is technically coming out tomorrow, but we've just released it a night early. Everybody watching, you can get to SMWSA.com right now. Look at cask 1.205 and go ahead and order if you're interested. But I think this is a great staple. If you're looking for something all around, somebody who would appreciate an older whiskey, then I think this is a great choice.
A total staple. I agree. Okay, whiskey number 3.
Okay. So I was excited about that one. I'm also excited about this one for different reasons.
I know it's only uphill from here, Ben.
So, I mean, you know, I think the theme of these Outturn, of this June Outturn, I think, you know, the past couple months we've had some really exciting whiskeys that are double matured, very unique and offering different flavor profiles and experiences to be had. I think this one, as we get into it, the theme here is just very classic. I think we're going to see more and more of that, just perfectly executed casks, and this is no exception. This is cask 78.41, titled A Real Sherry Monster. Distilled on the 31st of December, 1997. It's 19 years old. Matured exclusively in a refill ex-Oloroso sherry butt, so Spanish oak, full term. Bottled at 57.1. A real sherry monster. Amanda, is this a real sherry monster?
Ooh. Oh, delightful. Such a contrast from the one just before it. Totally different. Absolutely a real sherry monster, but not overtly, I don't think. I mean, the name would imply that it is an overt sherry monster, but it's really rounded out at the finish. Really balanced. Very, again, craveable. This is a perfect accompaniment to cheese and honey drizzled on hard cheeses, hard Alpine cheeses, my favorite. Would go perfect with this. Wow. So this is a 19-year-old from Distillery 78, and it is the 41st cask. Wow. Yes,
this is, again, it's a high distiller. It's in the whiskey itself is categorized in our deep, rich, and dried fruits flavor profile, which is pretty common within whiskeys that are matured exclusively in sherry. For me, just right away on the nose, it's pretty much like walking into a sherry bodega. It is the essence of Oloroso. Really, it's the backbone. It's nutty with some dark fruit. There's a hint of clove and some nutmeg. It's really a true, a real sherry monster, as it's called.
Yeah, for sure. But don't let the name, if you aren't a sherry whiskey person, I wouldn't let the name actually turn you off in this case, because it is really, really rounded in all of these spices. All of the spices you just mentioned, Ben. Clove. I get a lot of clove. It's very easy to drink. This is almost a bit sessionable, I would say.
Yeah,
very easy to drink.
57.1%. I think it's really palatable. It's a very luxurious whiskey, as you know. I think sherry matured whiskeys are often perceived to be. For me, this is an evening dram, a perfect pairing with a cigar if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But definitely post dinner is what I'm thinking here.
Oh yeah, this is more of the digestif for sure. Although I could have it in the beginning as well.
Yeah, so for me, I think this is one of the, I'm going to throw this out there, and of course, we love every whiskey we bottle. However, I think this could be my personal favorite when it comes to the sherry matured style that we've seen in the last few months.
Okay.
On board. I think this is a beautiful whiskey, personally, and priced at $165. It's a special occasion whiskey. It's a bit higher than I think our average, but to me, the experience to be had is just great value at that price.
Yeah, I agree. A 19-year-old, delightfully sherried whiskey. This is, again, really different contrast, totally different than the first two by a long shot. And I think it will stand up in this whole lineup. But again, if you are intimidated by sherry whiskeys for some reason, I think still give it a shot, because It's very well balanced in all of these spices, and I get a lot of clove, but it's warm and very sessionable overall. It's something you can kind of drink continuously throughout the evening and go for 1 or 2 drams of this easily. Okay, Ben, number 4.
Yeah, and the question we got coming from YouTube is previewing any from Islay. We actually are venturing into the land of the islands, if you will. I mean, we have 2 from Islay, but first we have a very special surprise, which you'll now see on the website for those of you who are checking. Just released. This is cask 93.73 from Campbeltown. So this is from a region that's smallest. I think it's the smallest whiskey producing region in Scotland now by number of distilleries, but one that's very much in demand overall. And so we released a cask in Distillery 93. It was a 25-year-old last month. It sold out in about a day or 2. Really hot item. So we brought one back. This is a 15-year-old, an American oak expert in a hogshead. It's in our oily and coastal flavor profile, as indicated by this blue color coding here. 55.6%, priced at $160. So, I mean, oh wait, this is your selection of the month.
Yeah,
too.
so this is my selection. It's no surprise that I chose an oily and coastal whiskey. That oily and coastal is the flavor profile of the 12 proprietary flavor profiles that are listed here, that the Society classifies all of our whiskey as. Oily and coastal ranks up right around here, just before lightly peated. I personally tend to go between oily and coastal and then peated and beyond. But if it's something that I want to drink for a longer duration of time and not have that smoky peated breath that you can't really return back from, I often have an oily and coastal whiskey in my hand. So no surprise there that I picked this one. Also, the region is something that I've been enamored with lately. The influence of the sea, the minerality that you get in a lot of these whiskeys are really elegantly complex, a lot of salinity and savoriness, but kind of goes across the board. Again, oily and coastal. So let's jump right in. It is called Speyside Chilies with Syrup. I didn't name it, but I did choose it.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild because
wow, as good as I remember. It almost on this time around having it been, it kind of tastes like chocolate covered espresso beans a little bit. There's some like coffee element to it, a bit of like smoked coffee bean at the finish there for sure, that I didn't get the first time around.
It's definitely sea breeze, freshly cracked sea salt. The white popcorn explosion is very intense on the nose. And there's this underlying element of dampened wood. Like if you take wood, dampened driftwood, and throw it onto a bonfire, it doesn't burn as well because obviously it's wet, but that aroma that comes from that just little session there is very much what I get on the nose.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a very intense, it's kind of a wild aroma.
Do you get that roasted coffee bean in there at the end, or is that just me?
Maybe a little, yeah. I mean, I think, I might get different things with this one. It's definitely a polarizing aroma, if you will.
Oh, it's really exquisite. There's a lot of great ones in this Outturn lineup for sure. But Seaside Chilies with Syrup is my selection. I don't know if I would agree so much with the with syrup part, but I'm not sure if I've actually experienced that. The seaside influence, of course, is spot on and right there. But again, for me, a nice roasted coffee bean, not overpowering. I'm not even a coffee drinker currently, but it's not overpowering. It's just a nice subtle cracked roasted coffee bean with a little bit of sea salt dark chocolate would go great with this. Definitely a nightcap for me. But again, you can start the evening with this if this is something you want to commit to, I think, because once you go to this, it's hard to drink something lighter than this. Yeah.
So again, 93.73 Seaside Chilies with Syrup. I love the texture on this one. Really viscous mouthfeel, a lot of clang, which plays in the finish. It really lasts long.
Yeah.
This is bound to be a coastal whiskey fan favorite, is my prediction for this one.
Totally. That ocean influence is pretty decadent in this case. All right, whiskey number 5 it is. We're getting into Islay now, for those of you who were looking for that.
Yeah, so this is cask number 53.244. Some of you might have spotted the little preview from Instagram earlier because yes, this is in the lineup. It is from Islay, 7 years old. What's interesting, I think, for us as a society, a lot of the Islay whiskey we tend to bottle is after 10 to 15 to 20 years. But we're bringing a bit more variety, just spoiler alert, and we're starting with this one, a 7-year-old called Vanilla Chimney Stacks. Distilled on the 1st of June 2010, matured in a refill hogshead, an ex-bourbon cask, bottled at 58.8%. And I just want to point out something. Sorry, let me drink the water out of my glass. I just like to rinse. But this whiskey itself, and I'm going to hold this up if you can see it, is almost clear. I mean, this is 7 years old.
Yeah, here we go. It's quite pale. This is actually, I might take a risk in saying this, but this is the most pale whiskey I've seen in a pretty long time from the society. But I wouldn't let that intimidate you at all, because at 7 years, I think that's just, again, indicative of no additives. And I like that sort of purity in my spirit personally.
Yeah. So I think on the surface, like, this could be really intimidating getting into this one because, young Islas are usually the most aggressive. What do you think? What's your first impression?
My first impression is it's quite funky. There's definitely a bit of funk on the nose, a very, very wet, mossy grass rolling hills, vegetal, herbaceous, but mostly wet grass, a lot of wet grass. And of course, that smoke that kind of pops up, it lingers on the nose at the finish of the nose. And then on the palate, there's something to this that is very much, it drinks almost like a rum agricole or cachaça, for instance.
Yeah.
I think that there is definitely some funk there, that this is, you could make an absolutely divine Caipirinha cocktail out of this. But again, this is something that is a little bit polarizing. You either are going to absolutely love this or learn to love it, I think. So for me, I've learned to love this flavor profile over time, but it's not something I would introduce to someone just discovering whiskey by any means. So it's an acquired taste. But we see a lot of that coming out of Distillery 53. Distillery 53 is one of my most coveted and collected favorite distilleries, although I shouldn't admit to that, but I quite like a lot of our releases coming out of that. This is not like any of the other ones we've seen from Distillery 53 at all. This is not like anything I've seen from the society in a while, actually. It's very, very funky and a little bit younger than I've seen coming out of 53.
Yeah, so I think the decision to bottle this really speaks to the broadening interest of our members, people like you and I, and just whiskey enthusiasts in general. Islay is becoming really popular, and we have a lot of these older Islay whiskeys, which are just so beautiful, in my opinion. But the younger side, 7 years old, is closer to, you see a lot of distilleries putting out under their own labels. This one, though, being a single cask, being cask strength, 58.8%, it's a completely different experience. And interestingly, though, priced at $110, I think, which is a great price for this. But,
oh yeah! Wow. Okay.
It's actually not as aggressive as I would think it is. It's a bit muted almost. It's very much more approachable than I would expect. And I get a lot of like white wine, more like a Sauvignon Blanc, some saltwater taffy. There's a bit of brine and sea foam in there as well. But on the nose, it's really inviting, which is so surprising to me. On the palate, when you taste it, and I'm just going to do this again. The vanilla comes through. Vanilla Chimney Stacks is the name of this whiskey. Vanilla comes through, more of that brine, really good texture, but the aggression really picks up kind of on the back end. So it's kind of same like enter if you dare. You enter, it's pretty good, it's easy, and then that peak really hits you. And I think it's just a lot of fun. If you like Islay whiskey, I'm having a great time with this one.
Yeah, very well said, Ben. There's some, your tasting notes were really spot on. To reiterate, the name is Vanilla Chimney Stacks, and it is a 7-year-old Islay whiskey from distillery number 53. The 244th cask bottled from them. They are a partner that we've seen quite a lot of, gratefully and thankfully, and a distillery that I've visited a couple of times and highly respect. Really, really, really interesting whiskey. I think by far, so far, this would be the most interesting whiskey in the lineup. And to reiterate Ben's point, it does kind of drink a little bit like a Sauvignon Blanc or a nice like oaky white wine, I would say. So good for flavor, for food pairings, and definitely a distinct flavor profile in its funkiness for sure.
Yeah.
Number 6.
And I think, and just to add the question, how does it compare to other things from the distillery? Very different. It's very unique.
Oh yeah.
Capture this whiskey at a really interesting age. I happen to think that a distillery would not bottle a whiskey like this on its own. This is the type of whiskey you can really only experience from a bottler, an independent bottler like the Society, in a single cask variant. It's just so much fun. I'm just having a lot of fun with it. And it's, we're sitting here indoors, but for me, I want to be outside. I want to be by the ocean, or at least get some of that sea breeze. Just
oh yeah, totally, Ben, totally. I want to be sitting on a dock somewhere drinking this.
Yeah. Okay, so
number 6. Yay.
6th and final whiskey. Now I'm gonna introduce this one, and I'm gonna say something a little controversial, just for the sake of controversial, but it's also true and worth noting, I think. So this is cask 29230, called the Best Sunday Roast. It's a 17-year-old Islay. If anyone can guess, it's Distillery 29. I think it's one that we bottle quite regularly. 1st of July 1999, refill ex-bourbon hogshead from Islay, bottled at 60.1%. So the controversy here is that last month we released a cask 29.224. We Arrived, which was named Best Whiskey in the World at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Amanda, did you like that whiskey?
I did. Okay. I have to say that We Arrived as a title has been such a thematic name for so much that's going on with the Society and for all those amazing awards and recognitions that we received last month. But go on, Ben, tell us.
Well, on paper, this is a very similar whiskey that was from the same distillery that was 18 years old. This is a 17-year-old, also from a refill bourbon, a refill hogshead, ex-bourbon cask. I think this whiskey, for me at least, is... Can I say, without saying it, I like this one. I like this one. I love everything from this distillery. But when we release them regularly, of course you want to pick up a little favorite here. I think this is one of the best casks that we've personally ever bottled from Distillery 29 in the last year or two. And I make a point to try them all every month.
Oh, man, that is bold. That is bold. So you're going to say that cask 230 from Distillery 29 that we often end on in these tastings is your favorite cask from 29 of all time?
For me as a member, so going back just only a year or two, which has been about 12 to 15 casks or more from this distillery. So I've been fortunate to try a lot of them. I just did a side-by-side earlier with We Arrived 29224.
You did? Okay.
Different, and I was just curious. That one, anyway, we'll circle back to this. Let's kind of cover some initial tasting notes. If you want us to kick it off first, and I'll share mine.
Okay. So I'm so very partial to this distillery at this point. We have not seen, in my opinion, anything less than 5 out of 5 stars from Distillery 29 when it comes to Society bottlings. It's hard to even pick them apart from one another, as Ben was saying, and to even pick a favorite because they're almost 99.9% of the time home runs, total home runs. We also bottled something from this distillery recently for our Vegiel releases. And I believe the age statement on that was either 7 or 8 years. It was much younger than this one. And even that one was so different from this, but outstanding. So I'm very partial to this distillery. It is for all the reasons why we love peated whiskey. But at an age statement at 17 years, we're really seeing like the rounded over the hill turn of what peat does in this case. I'm getting a lot of ripened cherries, a little bit again of coffee beans. That might just be something I'm getting tonight. Coffee beans, roasted coffee. Definitely a bit of herbaceousness. So I can smell almost like a floral, just a touch of floral on this. And then a very big richness that, to reiterate what the name is the Best Sunday Roast. And I think that this would stand up to a dish like a roast for sure, easily. Ben, do you want to elaborate on what the side-by-side comparison of We Arrived versus this was? Because I'm curious. I think that some people, we had a very limited release of that award-winning 29.
Yeah, so I think 29224 won Best Whiskey in the World at San Francisco World Spirits Competition, which is a huge accomplishment considering that it's blind and there were over 1,000 whiskeys submitted. I was thinking about this, obviously no two palates are alike. What I like is different from what you might like, and obviously we taste different things, but there's some underlying similarities there. That whiskey, the 29224, is, in my opinion, a more well-rounded whiskey experience. So even if you don't like peated whiskey and you're not really a fan, I think there's a lot that whiskey offers to really draw you in and just give you a remarkable experience. This cask 29230 here is very similar. It's a year younger, and I think that kind of shows. This to me is more of a traditional Islay enthusiast dram. So if you like Islay, I think you might appreciate a bit more of the aggression and peat-forward nature of this whiskey. If you're interested in Islay but really kind of prefer other regions or other styles of whiskey beyond peat, I think the 29224 We Arrived will really rock your world. But again, this is just coming from as an Islay enthusiast, somebody who really likes intense peat smoke, briny and salty whiskey. I think this is just really exists at a time when the spirit has begun to develop some new flavors, some very floral nature. As you said, Amanda, like really at this cusp of its evolution. So really excellent executed cask for me. This is exactly what I would want. And didn't think I would think this before we did this tasting, but this for me is a standout. Oh
yeah? Wait, this is the standout of the lineup for you?
I don't know. I mean, I think look, these are all fantastic. I think we really stacked a great Outturn.
Yeah. Another home run Outturn. The Outturns seem to be getting better and better and better with the society. I know I'm quite impartial to say that, but I've just reached my 24th Outturn with SMWS, and this is again a really dynamic, beautiful menu, so to speak. There's something for everyone on this. And there's something for collectors to go ahead and scoop up the whole Outturn because nothing is too similar. And they're all standout whiskeys. They're all really standout whiskeys once again. So the society is nailing it with organizing the Outturns lately.
And just for people, if you're curious, every month we release this collection of whiskeys that we call the Outturn, and we kind of put it together like a music album, if you will. Everyone has a story. We try not to do multiples from the same distillery. It happens sometimes. But we want really again, a collection of different whiskeys. And so for me, I think this is the single best Outturn we've had.
Really?
We put it on the map kind of to continually improving everything we do. And we're looking ahead at June and just the warmer months coming out, Father's Day. We've really withheld some amazing whiskeys that internally we were most excited for this month, which is again now live and available on the website for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. To reiterate that, Ben, the point that you just made, everything is now live at smwsa.com as of tonight. It gets released tomorrow by email, but those of you that are tuning in now have special early access to it, which is really exciting. And that was a nice add-on for us today. Ben, do you want to do just like a quick recap or talk about your favorite of the lineup, your standout again? I think we all know your standout is the last one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't really kind of go crazy over that last one, but going back at this, we started with cask 13.50, 11-year-old Highland whiskey. Really great aperitif, just bright, friendly, daytime dram. And I put them all down here. And we have
Sweet potato fries.
I'm sorry?
That was entitled Cajun Sweet Potato Fries. #1 was 13.50.
Yeah, and you called it that sweet potatoes actually being a flavor.
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew whiskey could taste like sweet potatoes? And the second one was distillery #1, and that was cask 205, entitled Captivating Complexity. And to me, this is my standout, Ben. The way that you just waxed on about distillery 29 at the end, this is the one that I'm going to go back to tonight. So it's a 23-year-old, and the price point is a bit on the higher side, but I can fully recommend it. Super chewy, very decadent, scrumptious. It's a scrumptious whiskey.
Yeah, $200 is the price point US of this whiskey, but as a 23-year-old, sure next bourbon hogshead, finished in the first fill bed recommended sherry hogshead, I think it's a great price. It's a unique whiskey, one that's different than I've ever tasted from this distillery or just from the society in general. It's definitely a whiskey that tastes its age. You really get the sense that it's older and a bit more rare.
Yeah, decadent, truly decadent. And then the third one, Distillery 78, this 41st cask, a real sherry monster. Again, like nothing else in the lineup by a long shot. Wow.
Pure European oak. I mean, this is exactly what a sherry cask, Spanish oak, Oloroso tastes like. I mean, it's beautiful. I think it's just so perfectly executed.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly executed, absolute sherry beauty. Deserves a place in the bar, and something that you can drink all night long. This is the one that I found to be, I think, the most sessionable. Then the next one was my selection, which was 93.73. And that was that Campbeltown Beauty. Again, very influenced from the ocean. Its name officially is Seaside Chilies with Syrup. I don't know if the syrup part resonates for me, but it's very minerally, salinity, and it's very savory, just as I like all of my oily and coastal whiskeys.
Yeah, Seaside Chilies with Syrup. Here's a bottle just for anybody who's interested in this one. I would say overall much more intense than I would expect from this Campbeltown whiskey. In a good way for me. It offers a lot more, and I think when you add some water and bring it down a bit, it becomes much more mellow, as you would expect. And so I think there's really two faces to this one. You can experience it neat, a really aggressive coastal whiskey experience, and then you can kind of subdue it a little bit and make it a bit more elegant and refined. So I think this is a great one as well.
Yeah. And then moving on to number 5, which was, we're now in Islay. So Distillery 53, 244, the 244th cask. Really, really, again, a standout, total standout. Vanilla Chimney Stacks, it's what it's called. I really thought it was a bit funky. You're getting that funkiness, I think, from that 7 years, that very youthful and straightforward 7 years. Ben, that one to me was, you said it kind of drank a little bit like a white wine. Was this the one that you said that about?
Yeah, there's like a unique Sauvignon Blanc, for me it was a unique Sauvignon Blanc aroma. It's very inviting for 7 years. Again, we poured it in the glass, so it was nearly clear. I think it's a lot of fun, this whiskey. Not something that we bottle regularly, a young 7-year-old Islay. It's just a total, if you love Islay whiskey, it's just fun. I keep saying that, and I don't mean to be repetitive, but I just want to hammer that message. This is a fun whiskey.
That's a great way to say it, Ben. It's fun, it's different, it's fun to stand out. It's like really nothing I've had from the society in a long time, if ever. But, you know, that's to say of all of our whiskeys, they're all snowflakes. And then the last one being Ben's standout. And it is totally a standout, and I've almost finished it myself at this point. So Distillery 29, one of our favorite go-tos to end all of these lineups, the 230th cask, entitled The Best Sunday Roast. And although we're drinking it on a Monday after work, it's truly something special.
29230, again, a follow-up for us to 29224, which was its named Best Whiskey in the World, the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Again, I'll just reiterate my opinion. I think this is the best cask that we bottled from this distillery and released in the last year or two.
Wow.
And that's just for me, and I think both are fantastic, of course, slightly different. very similar in a lot of ways. Same cask type, 17 versus 18 years. It's just, I think really it's just the time of day or what your mood is. But I just think this is just a beautiful cask.
So for those of you who may have missed out on the award-winning cask that we released last month, this is a good time to scoop up this one, especially if Ben is endorsing it just ever so slightly more than we arrived from last month.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't tasted it, that we've announced this, we are doing tasting events around the country. In fact, right in this very moment, we're doing a tasting event in Washington, D.C. at Jack Rose. I know a lot of members are there this evening. We're going to be bringing 29224. We arrived, the winner of Best Whiskey in the World, to these events, so you can certainly taste it. If you're looking for a bottle and you missed out on the lottery to get one, I'm just saying right here, this is on our site as of 45 minutes ago. It's now available.
Scoop it up. Scoop it up.
I just don't think, from a tasting, from a flavor experience, this is as exciting as anything from 29. So you won't be disappointed.
I couldn't agree with you more. Although I do love them all, for different reasons, but this one was good. And as you can see here, my glass is empty, so I officially finished number 29.230.
So that's it. We went through the Outturn. There's obviously more whiskeys than we have here. This is just a selection of 6, but you can go to smwsa.com, look at the single cask whiskey section, and check everything out. Any questions? You can always email us. Ben at SMWSA or Amanda, the same. And we'll be happy to chat, or just hit us up on YouTube in the comments section below. And so, yeah, thank you all. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, everyone. Be sure to tune in next month, around the same time, just before the 4th of July here in the U.S. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter, SMWS America at Twitter. Sorry, and Instagram. Sorry, one too many whiskeys, huh, Ben?
Yeah, or 5 too many, but yeah. All right.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and we will see you back this time next month.
Plunge up.
Plunge up.